In case you don't know me, my name is Leon, and I played in UHC Generations. I was the third person to inhabit the world. Flaming Moai, the founder, passed the world on to Quilby, who passed it on to me. I had it for, I want to say about 8 months, making 10 episodes before passing it on to Josh, aka Code Neon, who has since passed on the world himself. Being a part of UHC Generations was truly a transformative experience for myself and my channel. And with all the attention the series is getting lately, I figured now would be a good time to take a little trip down memory lane and discuss with you guys what it was like to be a part of this world. So without further ado, a UHC Generations retrospective. Right, things that went well. And don't worry guys, thankfully there's quite a few of them. But before we get to that, and no, don't worry, I'm not gonna tell you to like and subscribe. I'm not here for that. But I do really want to tell you that we've just started a community Discord for UHC Generations. This is the first time we've ever had any sort of like central community, and I'm really excited to launch this. So if you want to join, check out the invite link in my video description. Anyways, back to the video. The first thing that comes to mind is the amount of episodes that I made. Like, I made 10 episodes, which obviously everyone has a different pace to making videos and everyone inhabits the world for a different amount of time, but I'm still really happy with the fact that I currently have the most episodes of any UHC generation. Not that it's a contest or anything, but I'm just really happy with the sheer amount of, media, videos I've put out there. And in those videos, I feel like I did a pretty good job of, including a lot of like the real authentic gameplay segments. Like obviously I didn't include everything, I'm still trying to make quick, concise, well-edited videos, but the fact that I included a lot of like real raw exploration segments, combat segments, building segments, like all this stuff that's not just edited down into a voiceover or a time lapse, like I didn't gloss over too much, which I'm really happy about. We'll talk about this more in the like kind of reflections and tidbits section later in the video, but that's one of the things that I think really separates UHCG from a lot of current retention edited Minecraft series, and that's I've got my own thoughts on that. We'll get to that later. In terms of the things I actually did in the world, I mean, far and away the thing I'm the most proud of is Industry Park and setting the stage for future farms. In case you're not aware, Industry Park is a giant plot of cleared land in the jungle biome just nearby Founders Town, where I spent a whole lot of time building farms, industry, creating a giant storage system that's connected up to all these automatic farms. It's easily the project that I spent the most time on in UHC Generations, and kind of my pride and joy, Not only am I really happy that I built all these farms, which is kind of out of my comfort zone as a builder, and made this cool, building style in the process, but I'm also really happy that I expanded the plot and left it empty before I left the world. There's these 3 giant circles of land, and really only one of them is actually used. So future generations, if you're watching this, please add more farms. That's why it's empty. Like, that's the entire reason I made this giant empty plot, was for you guys to add new farms. It kind of looks silly with only a third of the land developed, in my opinion. So please, don't feel like you're, stepping on my toes or anything, or you don't even have to use my build style. Just use the land for something. It would really make me happy. I would really appreciate it. Of course, I was really happy with, the shallows and the random improvements to Founders Town and all that random other stuff I did in the process, but Industry Park really is my baby, and I think that's really what I will be, and currently have been, the most remembered for. People are calling me, industrious, the industrialist or whatever, which I think is very cool. So I really think I'll go down in history and in legend as, the guy who built all the farms and stuff. And there is still a lot more to go, but I'm happy with what I did. And of course, all these builds are great, but so much happens off camera. And in particular, I left a lot of funny signs and stuff everywhere, which of course is part of the whole thing behind UHCG. Like, you leave signs, you keep journals as a kind of core concepts. And so I'm not trying to pat myself on the back for doing my job, but I left a lot of funny signs in funny places, and probably by now most of them have been discovered, except for maybe not my helmet, or maybe it has, I'm not sure, honestly. I don't know what's going on in the world anymore, but yeah, I left a lot of funny signs, and I'm just very happy that I always kept some signs on me and always did that. In terms of like the editing front, I think my narrative structure and like my editing polish improved a lot over the course of the series. I mean, my editing, I think, has always been a strong point for my channel. Like, I'm pretty happy with how my videos come together, but UHC Generations is where I really took it from just being flashy and retention edited and made things more refined, more subtle, more polished. You know, I think I was a lot more creative with video transitions, especially in the last couple episodes. I mean, episode 10 has crazy editing. That's a whole other thing in itself, but in the normal episodes, like especially 7, 8, and 9, there's a lot less reliance on flashy effects and more of just a polished, coherent episode, not only in the visuals, but in the narrative structure. I put a lot of like brain thinking power into how to structure my UHC Generations episodes, and especially because it's single player, you really do have complete control over what order you show clips in and what order things happen, which is great. I always felt that my previous series really lacked any sort of narrative structure, and I really wanted to change that for UHC Generations, not only to like bump up my watch time and all the silly YouTuber stuff, but like also just to make a more enjoyable piece of media. I started laying out bullet points for how I wanted my episode to go. I think episode 3 is where this really shines because I'll lay out the concept, right? We're starting Industry Park, making a bamboo farm. I go on all these like side quests to get materials. I think it's like slime, ice, and soul sand. So there's 3 kind of different side quests, right? I gotta go to the nether for soul sand, trade with piglins, gotta build a slime farm for slime, like a really basic slime farm, and gotta find a mountain biome for ice. And I do all of those, then go back and construct the farm, and it's like a little bit more than just that happens, but I feel like it's a really coherent, straightforward, well-done episode structure. So that one, UHC Generations episode 3, is always kind of stuck out in my mind as like good episode structure for one of my videos, because God knows I'm not very good at it. Like most of my episodes, even stuff I've made since UHCG, like, you know, Skyblock Kingdoms and whatever, episode structure goes out the window when I have funny bits, but regardless. So this last one is a bit of a hot take, but as some of you may know, and this is spoilers for my UHC ending, so if you don't want to hear it, I totally understand skipping to the next chapter. But I did something differently when I ended the series, which is that I died intentionally. And I know some people kind of disagreed with that, said it kind of went against the theme, the vibes of UHC Generations, and I totally get that. But I'm still very happy that I did it, and it's for this reason. I wanted to set a precedent. I foresaw a future somewhere, you know, far down the road where the world is inhabited by a really skilled, really competent survival Minecraft player. Way better than me or Moai or Quill or Josh or anybody else that's had the world thus far. And I was worried that this player, who is not really challenged by the concept of ultra hardcore, would do all the things they wanted to do in the world and then not really have a way to pass it on. They might feel stuck. They might feel that the series is slowing down because they don't have any more things to challenge them. And rather than watch the series slowly die off because one person just can't figure out what to do next, now you have a way out. Now they can say, oh, well, Leon intentionally died to pass the world along. I can just do the same thing. So yes, I know it's weird. I know I kind of took the coward's way out in the moment, but I do really think that setting that precedent is very important for the future. Alright, things I wish I did differently. Now, I want to preface this by saying that, like, I don't have any huge regrets for UHCG, and that's something I'm very proud of. You know, obviously, I don't look back on my time in the world and I'm like, oh, everything's perfect, I did everything right. Like, no, there were some big things that I wish I could go back and change, but all in all, I'm still very happy with the way I spent my time there, the resulting videos that came out, but there is still a few things that kind of stick out in my mind that was like, man, I wish I had a bit more foresight, a bit more ambition at first, but anyways, the first thing is that I wish I had explored a little bit further out in the world, and most importantly, left secrets out there, left stuff out there. Like, I'm gonna be honest, the biggest secret I ever hid was my helmet, which is out there somewhere in the world, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not very far. Like, once y'all get Elytra, y'all being whoever's playing in the world right now, you're gonna find it pretty fast. And I really wish I had taken more time to make it a proper, like, scavenger hunt, make it a proper thing to do, like an event to experience. And yes, I can't, be too harsh on myself because I was exploring the world Elytra-less, but I never really found any new biomes. I certainly loaded new chunks, but nothing crazy. Like, I didn't just go like 10,000 blocks in one direction for the hell of it. And I really wish I had left larger secrets and more than just a random sign. Like, it's funny to leave a sign that shows you were there, but I could have done so much more. I could have done builds, scavenger hunts, mysteries, building stuff off camera. I didn't do a lot off camera, and that kind of ties into my previous point about including a lot of real raw gameplay, like not just glossing over everything. I'm glad I did that, but I still wish I had done more stuff off camera, like secrets, not just grinding. This is one of the things I'm really proud that Josh did, right? Because I didn't do a lot of this. I didn't do a lot of off-camera secrets, and Josh really just ran with it. He went nuts with this idea, and I'm so happy that he did, because I really think it's a core part of UHC Generations, like finding stuff out in the wilderness, not just like immediately seeing everything around Founders Town, and that's an entire generation's contributions, like I wish I had done more stuff out there in the world. And this kind of ties into a larger theme of like, I wish I had put more general thought and planning, I guess, and effort into my long-term time in the series. I was really just thinking about it like one episode at a time. And speaking of episodes, though, I really wish the first few episodes were stronger. If you could graph like how happy I am with my UHC Generations episodes, like each one as they release, it would be a straight diagonal line up, because I'm not particularly happy with episodes maybe 1 through 3, and I'm really happy with like 7, 8, 9, 10. Once again, I don't entirely blame myself, right? Like, you have to kind of put yourself into my shoes here and hear me out, right? Because when I first inherited UHC Generations, my channel was a lot smaller. I was getting it from a smaller channel from Quilby. This was not a big series that had been touched by these big boy YouTubers like Josh and, the folks coming after him. This was a small indie series that there was no fan art. There was really no dedicated community. I didn't have a Discord server when I started this thing, and there wasn't really much of a community behind it, right? I know it's hard to believe now, but some of my episodes were sitting at like 400 or 500 views before Josh came along, which of course is not something I want to take for granted, but I truly believe that the series has the potential to be one of the biggest things in the Minecraft YouTube space, and especially with the caliber of creators that have taken it over since me, like, I really wish I had been a bit stronger in not only introducing the concept, but just the editing, the episode length, the narrative structure in episodes 1 and 2 especially. I don't think the first few episodes are very exemplary of my skill as a creator, and this kind of comes to a sort of common point between my own attitude towards the series in the beginning and Josh's attitude towards the series when he started. Both of us were not really sure if we really wanted to do this. And for some context, I had made 2 survival Minecraft episodic series before UHCG, and both of them were fun at first, but they died out pretty quick. So I was dreading that UHCG was gonna do the same, and I was gonna have a really hard time passing it on because it was going to be a dead series by the time I was done with it. I wasn't entirely ready to like full commit to putting 100% in each episode. I specifically remember thinking like my original game plan was to make short, low edited videos, and like that's the opposite of what I do nowadays. That is the literal opposite of what I think is a good LeonSBU video nowadays, and I just really wish I didn't do that. Thankfully, my attitude changed over the course of those 10 episodes, and I really began to understand and appreciate how special and unique this series is. And it seems that Josh had a similar thing. Like, he's told me before that when I handed him the world, I mean, he was certainly interested enough in the concept to take it on, right? He didn't reject me outright. I didn't have to like beg him or anything, thankfully. But I remember him saying to me that like, yeah, I was on the fence about, doing this, but if I didn't like it, I could just die and pass it on. And, fair enough, that is how it works. Especially when you're, a much larger creator like Josh, you can probably find someone to pass it on to, maybe. I mean, he certainly did, right? But in my perspective, like, I wasn't ready to full commit to this series because I didn't think that it was going to be beneficial for my channel, and that led to some episodes that are not my best. Let's just leave it at that. I know I keep just like fawning over all the awesome things Josh has done, but he's done so many amazing things that I never did. Josh did like a brief recap of what UHC Generations is and how it works at the beginning of basically every one of his episodes, which I think is so smart. I did that like once in the beginning and then maybe once or twice in future episodes, but a lot of the time I just went straight into it assuming people already had a good idea of what the series was like, which is definitely not the case. So yeah, could have done a better job explaining that. I'm sure you guys have been waiting for this bit. I know it sounds exciting, but really this is just going to be all little like bits that have been bouncing around in my brain since I've had the world, and it's like I don't have another opportunity to just talk about these, so here we are, right? For starters, the axolotl farm that I built, the regeneration farm, or rather, yeah, regeneration farm. It's not an axolotl farm, it farms regeneration. This farm over in the shallows was made by Monocode, not me. I did not make this design. Monocode is a friend of Flaming Moai. I think he follows my channel as well. I follow his channel too. But yeah, he created this design, and I think Moai was going to build it at some point, but then of course he died, and you know, I eventually was able to build it, which is great. Oh yes, the desert temple over by Industry Park. I think multiple generations now have looked at it, assumed it was already rated, and not gone over there. Like my memory is a bit fuzzy on this, but I think I've definitely done that. I looked at it a million times walking on over to Industry Park, but I never got around to just walking like 200 blocks that way and looking at it, which is so stupid in hindsight. I believe the only time so far in the series that the items or, you know, bits of historical value have been properly lost is when I went into Singer Cave and didn't pick up all of Quilby's items, which is a bit of a disappointment on my UHC Generations record, but at the end of the day, I was in bad gear. That cave is a death trap, and I was not really thinking straight. That was episode 2. I was still really new to UHC Generations, so I don't blame myself for it. It's just kind of funny that the only time we've ever had significant loss of knowledge and information is from me. And I guess it had to be from someone, but, well, it's me. What can you do? Not many people know this, but there is a moss farm on the server. It's not an industry park. I think Moai built it. It's actually buried in a cave near Founders Town, so bit of a weird spot for it. I want to make sure people don't forget about that moss farm, because why set up another one? And the last thing I wanted to talk about for this video, and I know this has been a very, very long, rambly video, so if you made it to this point, I really, really appreciate you sticking around, but I wanted to talk about why I feel UHC Generations is special. Obviously, there are plenty of Minecraft hardcore series out there, and a lot of them have pretty unique concepts too, like unique twists and whatnot. But to me, UHC Generations is special because of just how incredibly genuine and authentic it is. This isn't some grand SMP orchestrated and scripted behind the scenes by a group of people to ensure a coherent, engaging, algorithm-happy storyline. Like, no, this is one person playing ultra-hardcore survival Minecraft, passing it on to the next person when they die, and after that, it's just up to luck and the will of the game. Someone might die really early. Someone might outlive their usefulness and take their own life, like I did. At the end of the day, we're just playing by ear, and I think that raw genuineness shines through in the way we treat this world. We don't steer the direction of this series in any way. Whoever has the world, it's theirs. They can do with it what they want. If they want to go TNT blow up Founders Town, they can do that. And would I agree with that decision? No, but the world's not mine anymore, and ultimately, I'm just another viewer. And more to this point, I feel that UHC Generations is a significant departure from a lot of other Minecraft series that are out on YouTube right now. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with the fact that, like, a lot of creators are getting very fed up with the YouTube algorithm and going out of their way to make videos that they genuinely want to make, not just feeding whatever the algorithm says that it wants, which I think is a really good decision, but I think also that that's the place where UHC Generations can truly shine. Like I've been saying, it's so authentic in a way that I think a lot of other series just can't be, because there's so much trust in your fellow generations. There's so much trust in the people that have come before you, and that creates something that's just very, very captivating. I really do look forward to the day when UHC Generations has a massive YouTube following because, like I said before in the video, I do really believe that it can get there. Every single person who spent time in this world has come away with a huge appreciation for what it is, what it represents, and its potential for the future. And as you can see by this very long video, I'm no different. I really do hope you guys have enjoyed my look back a bit over a year after first taking up the world. I wanted to get my thoughts out, and I do hope that they were at least vaguely interesting for you guys. So until next time, y'all, this has been Leon, and I'll see you guys in the next, well, maybe not UHC Generations video, but Minecraft video in general. Take care, you guys. Thanks for listening.